right, guys. My name is Christy, and I am part of a canning group on Facebook. And I get all kinds of great tips and helpful hints and information that I did not know about some of the things because I haven't done canning of everything yet. But one of the things that I do know how to do, and I was asked by one of the canners on that group, is if I would demonstrate how to cut up a chicken. When I was first married, my husband was a manager of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and that was back in the 70s, so that kind of dates me. And all the chicken that came into Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I worked for him, had to be hand cut up. I'm sure it all comes completely cut up now because that's how our society is. So we cut pounds and pounds and pounds of whole chickens into the parts and pieces that you needed for Kentucky Fried Chicken. I've cut birds up that way since that time. So that's been probably over, I don't know, 42, 43 years. So anyway, I was going to demonstrate how to cut up a chicken, but I had asked my husband to keep his eye open for any turkeys that might be on sale because I'd like to can some turkey. So I came home yesterday with two nice sized turkeys, like 16 pounds, and I figured, hey, what the heck, I'm gonna can them. I might as well cut them up. All birds are physiologically put together the same way. And this will just be cutting up a chicken in giant form. And so I thought I would demonstrate that today. I am not a professional in any way, shape, or form. I will just tell you some of the information that I have gathered through the years. And I'm in my regular household. It's holiday season. There's a parrot that's gonna make noise, a dog that might bark. My daughter lives here. So if there's interruptions, that's the way it goes. So hopefully this won't be long and boring, but it will give you a little bit of helpful tips on how a bird is put together and how easily to cut it apart without having to bring your chainsaw into the house. So number one most important thing of all is that you want a good sharp knife. If you do not have a good sharp knife, you cannot cut up any bird. You can cut yourself. You know, my husband was a meat cutter for 25, 30 years or more. We still process our own types of meat. So this is called a boning knife. And I just got a brand new chef knife that yesterday that I can't wait to start cutting up stuff. I generally will not use this on meat, but I might use it, I don't know. But I'm just setting it out here. It even has monograms on it. So look at, wait, can you see the monogram? I don't know, it's there. Yeah, it's gonna be backwards maybe. Anyway, so my initials are on there. And I was told that Cutco makes the best of everything, lifetime warranty. So for my own Christmas gift, I bought myself a new chef knife because the chef knife I've probably had for, I don't know, it's awesome, maybe 25, 30 years, well used, and it still works well. But you know, when you live your life loving being in the kitchen, you gotta treat yourself once in a while. So let's get started on this gigantic chicken, or turkey I should say. Misnomer, a lot of people think you're supposed to do it. You're really not supposed to wash your pieces of meat before you cook them. You just don't want to do that. So all I did was pretty much took apart this turkey's innards, put them in a pot, you know, to make some stock and to make gravy later with, and just patted it dry. It's supposed to be a fresh one. There are parts that may still be frozen. We'll see if they give me any kind of an issue. So the first things that I like to do when I get my chicken is, of course, I pull the legs forward, and this one seems to be obviously a little in the frozen state, but I will take the skin that connects it all together, and I'll just lightly cut into that so I can see where the joints are gonna be, and there's gonna be some right here. So I want to pull this down so I can see where my cuts are going to have to be made. The whole idea of cutting up a chicken into pieces is you don't want to have to cut through bone if you don't have to. And people that do it by hacking away end up really having dangerous moments in the kitchen and ruining knives and whatnot. So all of us are put together with joints, and I just find where the joint is to that leg and where it connects to the thigh, and I feel that indentation there. So I'm going to just start cutting into it, and I'm I like to watch and look where the knuckle bones, where the femur, you know, meets the lower part. And so then I'm just gonna go right through that area. If you can see this, it's all done on my cell phone. And so I get that going a little bit, and then I lift it up, and I'm gonna go under it right here to meet that joint again. And I'm gonna pop this backwards. I put the knife down, I don't wanna cut myself. And I'm going to just work on it till I know that I have exposed the entire joint. Try not ever to cut towards yourself, birds are slimy. Okay, so I just cut a few of the tendons that were holding those the joint together. And I'm just going right in there and just making sure the tendons and any of the cartilage that was hanging on to connecting are exposed, and I can actually work at them. So I have not cut a bone at all, but I was able to completely take this off in whole. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do the other side as well. Again, you know, this connecting skin, I'm just gonna cut down through it. Like I said, if you don't have a sharp knife, you're not gonna have fun. So I may even sharpen my knife in between, we'll see. And again, I like to find the joint, so I may start under, I may start on top. I'll try this one here. And so again, I'm gonna feel where is that indentation where those two bones are gonna come together. And when I can see them, then I can get into the right spot, and I can keep gently working so that I can see the exposure of the nice shiny cartilage that coats the bones, and make sure that that I don't have to go through any bones. So some of you may be a little apprehensive about using good sharp knives, but they are key to everything that has to do with cutting up meat, period. We have sometimes a race when we get cases of chickens in. My husband and I will see who can cut up a chicken the fastest. So here I've exposed, again, where the joint was. I'm cutting through cartilage and tendons, and then I have gotten my second leg out of there. So now the thigh on this may be a little more of a difficult thing because the inside of the turkey was a little more on the still kind of frozen side. And so I need to expose it. So I'm going to, again, I want everything exposed. So I'm gonna cut the skin flaps. I might just cut this, I should take that wing out of my way. So I'm cutting the skin flaps in here to the thigh where it's connected. Can you see where it's connected here? And I know that there's going to be a joint there too. Obviously you have to be able to move your legs, and we all have joints, and so do birds. So I'm going to find where this joint is located by cutting down into where it comes right against the body of the bird. And I'm starting to see something that looks like a joint. This goes a lot quicker with a chicken, just so you know. This is a bird that is gigantic. And I can tell you honestly, I've never cut a turkey apart like I do chickens, but it's doable. And sometimes this thigh, it's a lot easier, like I said, on a chicken. So I get everything exposed as much as I can, and then I usually have to pop the thigh backwards till it, so I hear popping. And then you can see it just exposed the thigh bone there. So now I can go behind that thigh bone, cut away again where I see it coming together with another bone that looks the same on the other side, and I'm just gently working in that joint area, and I'm just gonna cut through no bones at all, and there is your complete thigh. No bones cut, all right? And so I'll go to the other side, do the same thing, and remove the other thigh. And again, so I don't know how well this is coming across on the screen, but I'm gonna cut away the skin flaps so that I can get to the exposed area I need to work in where the bones meet each other. And like I said, chickens pop right very easily to where you can expose that so much better than a big old fat turkey. So we're just working down to where I can see where this thigh is connecting. And sometimes I have to cut into the meat more than I expect. First with this is like virgin territory, dismantling a giant turkey instead of a chicken. So, all right, so I'm still getting down into the joint area, and I don't want to be cutting bones, so kind of sometimes have to just feel your way around with your knife to where that, there, if I bend it backwards, you can see that there's bone here. That means there's another bone that's going to look just the same on the other side, so there's going to be tendons and ligaments that connect it. So all I'm doing is kind of following the path of the meat and not really the bone. And so there's another thigh removed. So now we're getting to where here's a back, and this makes the best soup stock. So I just kind of bend this back, and it already had popped loose. And again, you don't have to cut through any bones. It just has a separation point, and that is going to be some pretty good stock. My husband came home from a road trip, and he's very sick with a terrible cold. And so today he's gonna get turkey noodle soup. And then here's still more of the back that's left that I will take off later. So let me remove the wings. Again, just like any other limb, you just start cutting down into here until you can see where the shiny white cartilage of the bones come together. And when you get down into that joint, put your knife down, see if you can pop it back. Hey, the bird's gonna compete. The bird loves for me to talk. So I'm seeing some bone down in here, a joint, so I'm just gonna keep cutting around it, getting in between where it connects to the other bone, and no bones have been destroyed. So when I cut chicken, I like to make the wings a lot of times just into the kind of the drummies. And with this one, I know that I'm going to be canning this turkey. So I am going to take off this little wing tip, and again, it has joints, so I can just pop it. I can expose the in between those joints so that I don't have to ruin my knife. Sometimes it still takes a little pressure to get through some of this, but it shouldn't take much. And then I just remove that wingtip, and then I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just get that skin out of the way, and I'm going to separate this right where the joint is. Again, you see there's a cartilage that surrounds that point of that, or the tip of that bone. It may not seem like it's going to come apart easy, but if you just kind of look at how it's put together, you're going to be able to get through it. Sometimes I take a knife I don't care as much about, and I might cut through some of the bones, but I don't have to. I just popped it backwards, and I separated that. So I have the drummy type things here. I'm going to take off this one. Again, just going to get rid of some of that skin and I'm going to go in here where the joint is supposed to be. And the more of the skin, the flesh that I can cut through, the better I can see where I'm at to find the joints. My bird is an Amazon gray, a green, yellow-headed Amazon parrot. She's a baby. She's learning to talk, and she's not happy that I put her back in her cage so that she wouldn't come and join me while I cut up maybe one of her ancestors here. So she's gonna give me some vocals going on and trying to get my attention. Okay, again, just taking off that wingtip. Okay, gonna get this. I don't do this in the air usually, but I do want to expose the joint. I want to see that white cartilage somewhere on the tips of the bones, and then I know where to start getting my knife to go. Again, just keep in mind, poultry is very, very slippery and slimy, and so easy to make yourself have an accident. And if I ever have an accident cutting meat, it's always with. So see, found the joint, pop them apart, and now I can take my knife and just go through the skin and the tendons that were holding it together. So look at that, we're almost done. Now this is the big thing. So since it's not a little chicken, we're gonna see how it goes. So right here and right here, you have like the rib cage and the big old breast. And so I'm going to cut to try to get somewhere in between all the ribs. And this is where I might cheat, change up a knife to one I don't care about as much as my husband's good boning knife. But I think I can get all the way through without getting to bones. You really shouldn't have to cut a bone. And then I'm gonna pry it apart, and there are joints again, there are tendons and joints that you can get exposed, and you don't have to go through bones. If you're impatient and you want to, there may be a bone right here that you decide that you're gonna hack away at. And sometimes I cheat, and that's what I do. So, let me wash my hands, get in my drawer. I'm not gonna use my brand new lovely chef knife, but I am gonna use my husband's meat knife. And I might just go through this connection with a bigger knife that has a little girth to it, just to get that separated. I mean, I see the joint. It's just harder to expose it to a delicate little boning knife, but it can be there. See, I did it on that side, I cheated on the other side. Again, here is back material that I sometimes with a chicken, I'll just bake it because there's plenty of meat on it. But with this big old turkey, knowing that I'm going to be making soup and stock, it is going to go in a pot. And now we have come to the breast. So, breasts, by turkey in itself, you could just cook this by itself, bake it. But we're pretending we're doing a chicken, and I would be doing this completely different. Right here is what you call, I guess, the keel, and you can separate this, you know, there's a bump right here, and you can separate this. Now on the old-fashioned Kentucky Fried Chicken way of cutting meat, cutting the chickens up, still my favorite, I choose to get that keel off. So I go right behind where I felt this knob of a bone that sticks up, and I'm just gonna cut right straight down through it, and you will have some bone here. And in Kentucky Fried Chicken ways, you know, it used to be you would have a keel bone, and then you'd have two side breasts. So these are gonna be the two side breasts. But I want to get down through this keel bone, and there is probably a way to get through it if I was gonna be patient. But again, right now, I'm gonna tell you that if you're doing this with a chicken, you're probably going to do what I do, and either I'm gonna pop it and try to break that bone, but this is a turkey, and my hands are slimy, and I don't wanna have an accident. I just had surgeries on both my hands. So I'm just gonna take a nice, sturdy, heavy knife, and I'm gonna see if I can just get through it that way, right where it all comes together, and I can get it a start, kind of like a piece of wood or whatever, and then see about breaking it. So this is the part that I was having an issue with on that website, is a lot of the ladies said that, you know, they just kind of hack away to get their chickens cut apart. There really doesn't have to be a lot of hacking because there is connections. So here I just did a little hacking so I could see where I could bend it, and it is coming apart, and so I can still follow through with finding out where the best path for my knife is, and be careful not to cut myself. So I did find where there's joints and bones that come together, and when I pop them apart, I can go in there and dismantle them. Okay, so again, these are going to be like the half breasts if you want to cut it down this way, and they have a breastbone right in the center that connects them, and you will have to go through that. It's mostly cartilage. And then here's where the wishbone is. Some people like to save the wishbones, but I just broke it. Anyway, so then here is a nice meaty breast with some bone in it. Depending on what you like, you can remove that bone. And then here's the other half of that one. And then here's the real big meaty breast. Okay, so you can leave that whole if you're doing chicken. And this will be a nice big breast. You can also try to go through and separate it where this is. You will cut through bone here. It's a mostly, you know, a softer bone. And, but this by itself in Kentucky Fried Chicken terms would be called the keel. And it would be the nice meatiest part of their breastbone. So anyway, I will be breaking this down more because I'm going to be canning it and I will be taking all the meat off that. So I hope that helps. I really do. I don't know how well you can see up close, and the fact that this is a turkey, not a chicken, shouldn't make a bit of difference. Oh, she's getting her 2 cents in. So then another really important thing with chicken, any poultry, anything really, but chickens for sure, is you clean up really well afterwards. We always have 1 part bleach to 9 parts water on our counter for surface cleaning. Some people choose not to use bleach as a chemical. You do whatever you do, but sanitation with poultry is very, very important. So I'm gonna flip this around if I can figure out how. Haha, I don't see how. Anyway, I was going to show you what the noise is all about. And this is Kiwi. Say hi. And she is an Amazon yellow-fronted parrot. She's a baby. And there you go. So thank you for joining me. I hope it helps those who have wanted to take chainsaws and cut it up this way instead. Thanks.